talk about data as if it's this thing sitting on a ledger somewhere that you make some money off of. Data is, and I like to say, data has become a four-letter word, but it is a very, from an economic standpoint, it is a very unique resource. It is not a fixed asset. And in fact, and if you think about it, yeah, there's certain indicia about ourselves, like our identities, things like my social security number and my credit card number. There's certain aspects of me that are fixed and obviously very sensitive. I don't want to be sharing. But so many other things about us is about our experience. It's about things that are meaningful to us. So for example, the fact that I bought that pair of shoes last week on the web, there could be a dozen reasons why I bought those particular shoes at that particular time. All it is known is that that is a data point, and that data point is then fixed to me as if it somehow is meaningful about me as a human being. And it may be, but it also may not be. So I prefer to think about data as much more about a flow of experience and meaning. The term I use is a life stream, a digital life stream. I think tries to get us away from this idea of this sort of fixed thing, this asset, this resource that can, again, to be extracted from the environment. And if you talk to economists, they will say, putting aside for a moment that notion, sort of the flow of data, data is a combination of a couple of unique elements. One, it's non-fungible, which means essentially it's unique. There's no data point that's exactly the same as another data point because the context around it is always different. And that context often gets lost in the data stream when companies are trying to take a look at us. Second, it's what they call partially excludable, which means you can, using technologies and other things, prevent people or limit people from getting access to it. So it's not completely out in the world. It's something you have some control over in terms of controlling the access to it. And the third, and I think by far the most important thing, is it's what they call non-rivalrous. A non-rivalrous good, which means that many people can benefit from it multiple times over. So you can share your data with 20 different places, let's say, people, individuals, companies, governments. They can all make uses of it, which actually enhances the value. And in some ways, there's a multiplier effect. The more data you share with more people, the more value that's generated, again, mutually, not just for you, but for all the people you share it with. And when you look at a platform company or other, large retailers or others online, they have a very narrow conception of you. This is what they want to know from you, as much to know so that they can take that away and then try to sell you something. But if you could tap into that non-rivalrous nature of the data of you as an individual or as a member of society, as a family member, a friend, a part of a larger group, all those aspects of that data share with multiple parties, you get more value from it, as do they. So society benefits from having data be this non-rivalrous thing. And the irony, again, to me, is the more data protection laws you put in place, the more privacy legislation you pass, the more safeguards you ensure that people are fully protected in terms of their data leakage. That's good from a certain perspective, but socially, it's actually not so great because that value of that data could be immense for all kinds of reasons, both economic and non-economic.
I love that concept because it goes so closely to the tribes concept and companies acting more as a magnet for different tribes of people. And when you have non-rivalrous data, you're then able to see which tribes am I attracting, who is really in my customer base, and where can I find them? They're not just a name, address, and phone number or a DMA. They are the life stream of activities. And maybe
Right.
at a certain point, they're mine and they are appropriate for me. And then at another point, maybe they're not.
Yeah. And if I'm the person who paid Google to put that ad for those shoes online and I bought those shoes, they're happy, but that was sort of a one-off. And so
Mm-hmm.
what do they do next? Well, typically what I see, I think maybe it's experience, I see those same shoes follow me around the web for weeks and weeks afterwards. And it's like, okay, that's no good for me. It's wasting my time. It's wasting your money. Wouldn't it be better if you knew that I was very happy with the shoes? And in fact, I would love to find some matching jeans. How do
Yeah.
we create that connection? Right now, you can't really do that online because the platform sits in the middle and essentially is sifting all these insights for their benefit. The retailers get some of it, but they don't get the full value, and nor do I as the user slash customer or client. So this notion of the non-rivalryness is also, if I can lower my barriers, if I feel comfortable, if I trust you in a relationship. So it comes back again to this idea of trust. Then I'm willing to share more data. That data becomes more valuable to both of us. And then we're off to the races. And you can create a much better commercial set of interactions and even true relationship, not just sort of these one-offs we see online.